In the news, we had all kinds of different ways of faith of what was going on, what Obama was talking about, and how he's talking about how there's many ways with the different faiths how you can get to heaven when really there's not, and how he's telling people that they need to be a men and women of unity and of humility, which is true. We need to be that, and that we all need to be more compassionate and understanding of each other. Not everybody just say that one faith trumps all faiths, is even though the Bible teaches that there is only one faith. We are all imperfect in our understanding and learning. I know I'm always learning, and I know in my understanding I'm always finding out new things by studying the Scripture every day as a preacher. So I'm sure it's true about everybody else out here, because we're all still learning, so we can't say that we're better than everybody else, even if some people have that attitude. In all faiths, which is totally wrong the way to be, because we're all still learning. So anyway, we just have to remember that. Also, there were 2 hacks that took place this week dealing with Anthem Advantage or Anthem Shield. It used to be called Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Virginia. It was hacked twice this past week. I do believe it's coming from Nigeria or China. Also, if you go on the if you go on the TurboTax website to file your taxes, meaning you go online, not through the app that you bought. You buy the app and download it. You don't have to open up an account and do it online. But if you file online, they do believe that the TurboTax has some kind of script or some kind of hack that's on their servers, and that's how they're able to take advantage of your password, not through your computer, but when it's entered in on their side, on their servers, that's how they're able to quickly hash your information and break the passwords. And that's what they do believe has happened. They trace this thing all the way back to China or Nigeria in Africa. And some people may think it may have ties to Russia too, because Russia did say the lead to the other story about the hacks, but also the lead to the story about the plant that blew up in Texas last week, and near Austin, outside of Austin, there was a pesticide plant that blew up. And I know a lot of the chemicals would have made a lot of mess, but they're thinking a small missile might have been fired from a drone because they're finding other remains of something else that was there that should not have been there. And the way it looked by the explosion, that looks like it might have been something that might have been fired, because Russia said if the U.S. goes into Ukraine, that Russia was going to interpret that as war and also take it out and aim and do things towards the targets here in the U.S. Now, we're not saying that's what Russia did, but it's possible because they're finding out there may be some other stuff that was there at the scene. So it is kind of scary time, but also time that we live in. But we need to, because Russia was very serious in its warning and its threat. So, that looked credible to me when I was reading the reports. And these are public reports. They're not classified anymore. These things have been public for over a year now, and they've been leaked out all over the place, and everybody's talked about it in the news and things. So, and talking about, aiming at other bases. So could we see more mysterious explosions like this happening where it destroys a whole base? This is something that's like nearly leveled the whole ground. And of course, all the stuff that was there would do that, but they're thinking there was more damage there than what normally would have happened. A lot of considerable damage would have happened there, left a crater in the ground and all, because the chemicals that they had there were that kind of class of chemicals. But the thing is, that were used to make agents and other things. And my heart goes out to the person that owned that plant and that they lost their plant. But they're thinking now more. They're still investigating that too. They're thinking now the more that it could have been done by Russia, because they did threaten to fire on our airplanes and jets. Fire on certain facilities all over the U.S., factories and things, if we went into Ukraine. We were told told not to, but we have our soldiers in there trying to fight ISA, which is a group that's funded and supported by Obama. I wonder why Obama didn't mention that during his prayer prep speech back on last Saturday. Because our government is paying that group. They were called the Irish. They were called the Muslim Spring before that. They were called Al Qaeda before that, and now they're called ISA or ISA, but they're all the same group. These are not all three. These are not all different entities. These are all the same group. They just changed the name. It's called misinformation. The measles outbreak is over 200 people now have the measles in the United States. It's not in Virginia. Hope it doesn't get here, but they're saying there's a confirmed case that is in Virginia, but they got to make sure if that's what he has first before they make it public. They're saying sources, Channel 6 WTVR reported this last night in the news, that the boy in Virginia does have it, but possibly, but they're not really sure. They're going to wait till the day or a few days to run some tests to make sure that's the case. They think he may have the measles. That's what Channel 6 reported. So we may have a case here in Virginia. And of course, this is pretty serious because, back in the early 2000s, this virus was eradicated. But see, I think they're using a lot stronger strains, and they're doing the same with all vaccines. They're making them really strong, and that's why people are getting sick more. And also the other stuff that they're putting in there that shouldn't be in there, like nanotech and things like that. You hear all these horror stories, but they have reports that really show and can prove this. That have been written by a lot of people. I mean, somebody who worked for one of the big pharmaceutical companies, I won't say the name, actually reported this stuff and said that this stuff is really in there. It's not no hocus pocus or conspiracy. It really is, because they did tests on the vaccines and they found out in studies that this is what's causing people to get sick, causing people to get autism, and all these having epileptic seizures after they were perfectly healthy, but yet they're being denied by the doctors. Or some people get some shots and blood's coming out of their eyes and ears and mouth, and social service comes in and takes the child when it was a shot that the kid had a reaction to it because it had made him had a very bad, violent reaction, allergic reaction to it. I mean, this stuff is true stuff. It's not a movie, folks. So, anyway, we need to really pay attention to this stuff because it's true, folks. But anyway, but the thing is, we need to be careful. Right now we have waivers, so we don't need to take the shots. If we don't want to take them for religious reasons, we can do that. But they're trying to pass laws where we have to take the shots, whether we want to take them, whether we're religious or not. And I think that's infringing on our rights. It's totally wrong, and it's going against the Constitution. And I think it's something we need to fight on as Americans. It's Michael DeSilvis in the news. Just some of the many stories that have happened this week. Power going off in Chesterfield because of water main that broke. Over 2,500 people were affected. Just in Virginia, a lot of places in the United States, they feel like the economic has already imploded in large areas in the United States. Even though they're telling you that the economy's fine, so this is a lot of stuff they're telling you, but like I said, you can't always believe what they tell you in the news because it's all, government, run and propagandized and anyway, and they're going to put their own spin on it because they always do. And all governments do that, not just ours. They make it sound like it's a lot better than what it really is because they're not telling you the full truth in the first place. They're also giving many economics are predicting that the Dow could go down to 6,000 points. And that's be really bad when that happens. And they say that could happen in the next 9 months or 11 months to 15 months. So, they've had, in 2008, it'll go a lot lower than that. A lot of them fear and they're very scared. A lot of economics, engineers and analysts who study this on the world front, they're saying they're very scared right now because they do believe that something horrible is coming on the horizon. That's really big. It's going to be really a blow to the whole world economy. When it happens, they don't really know. But they're telling people to prepare, stock up, be a prepper. That way you have stuff, have a community chest. Community chests need to go up all over America starting now and get them up. And everybody donate food and put it in there. Don't touch it until, you rotate the food every so often to give it away, but you've replaced it with new food. So you have plenty of food for more than 6 months if something happens. There's a war or terrorism or something. You got to think that way because terrorism and natural disasters don't happen every day. But when they do happen, you need to have some kind of food in place, otherwise you'll die, especially when everything's shut down. You have to think like that because it's a real scenario. And it does happen in other countries where they're not like that. Those people died. So we need to take notes of that so we don't end up like those people, right? So get in the practice of communitizing all resources and putting some food aside every week. You don't have to be rich to do this, but everybody put some food in there every week, and that food will grow, and there'll be enough food for everyone to get food in that community. So it's a good idea, and that's what the Boy Scouts said. And that's what they're teaching. Prepare, always be prepared. That's their motto. And that's the way we should all be as people, whether we're in the military or not in the military, or in the government or non-governmental sectors. So anyway, this is Michael DeSilvis in the news. Take heed. Watch out for the signs. Subscribe down below. Donate. Use your fingers if you got them. And subscribe. And please, if you can donate, send some money to 7110 New Hunter Road, apartment 423, Mechanicsville, Virginia, 23111. We're a Christian independent medium consortium, so we need your help. We don't get big checks from the government, plantation, and we don't, get told what to do or what to print. You all are the boss, so please show your support and your patronage by making a donation today. Thanks to all those who faithfully do. Appreciate it, Mom. Appreciate it. Certain churches around here who give donations. Thanks for paying the rent. Who paid the rent? I don't know who did. But God knows, and God's going to bless you for doing so. Thanks a lot. Love you. Take care. It's Michael DeSilvis for In the News for February the 11th, 2015.